We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.
Welcome to the Weird West. Will you survive the frightening frontier or fill a grave on Boot Hill? Grab your 6 guns and enter the Deadlands.
Howdy, Abominations! Welcome to another launch day for a Deadlands Kickstarter. It is amazingly already funded, several minutes in, and bam. This one, we're headed into the Pacific Northwest. It's a big 3-parter, Shane. We got an adventure box set, Carnage and the Cascades. We've got the regional source book, and then we've also got a comic book as well, a graphic novel, I should say. It is a collection of 3, so it's a big campaign, but over 500 people for the first couple hours already, and so congratulations again, sir. But this was actually pretty fun. You got to go and hang out and do some in-person research for this project. So
we did. So that degree there, that's a master's degree in history, and I like to get it right. So I actually went to Seattle. I've been to Seattle many times, not for this particular kind of purpose before. So I went there, and I went to a place called Enumclaw, which is a little town out in King County, and some of the adventure takes place there. And it was really cool because not only did I get to walk around Enumclaw and understand kind of where it's at, what's the vibe, what are the people like, and nearby forests and the landscape and all that, but they had a fantastic historical society there. So I went inside, I told them what I was doing, and the curator was super excited, right? So he went and he showed me all this original material from the late 1800s and some from the early 1800s, and showed me all this just amazing stuff. So, for example, I was able to pull a lot of the people's names that are in the adventure from the real settlers' names from the time, both Salish names, European names, Asian names, because it was a big melting pot even back then, right? So that was super cool and really fulfilling, as a history guy. Another thing that I would not quite have gotten had I not been there on my own. So when all the logging first started happening in Seattle, you can read about these old growth trees, right? Mm-hmm. And they talk about how huge they were. And I've seen the redwoods in California, but they're not like that, but they are huge. And they have this sculpture in the middle of Enumclaw of these guys dragging this section of one of the trees down through the forest, right? And it's huge. It's about 8 to 10 feet in diameter. It's just massive. And when you think about what can I do with that in the adventure, right? You start getting all these ideas. You read about Yesler's lumber mill, which is where the term Skid Row came from. So really? Before it became synonymous with, where the dregs of society hang out, they literally had a skid road where they would slide these timbers down the hill from one of their delivery points to the furniture factory or to the sawmill. And sometimes they'd be a little mischievous and they wouldn't tell newcomers to town that these massive house-sized logs were going to slide down Skid Road. And then that devolved into Skid Row later on. You can look it up. It's amazing stuff. So it's really fun to walk around and get the feel for it. And then I, way back in '96 when I was first writing about the Seattle Cascades area, I certainly had an idea that it was colder than it really is, more snowy. Now, in later life, I was able to visit multiple times. My in-laws lived in Issaquah for years, so I got to really understand what the area was all about. And it really wasn't so cold, but up in the Cascades it is. And I had set up this whole winter war thing between the Wendigos, the Wolflings, and the Sasquatches, right? And I wanted to resolve that because that's like a 30-year-old plot now. So I did, and I think you'll find a really cool origin in the story for where the Wolflings came from. It's not just like a lot of the monsters in Deadlands, the Reckoners draw our fears out and give them life. The Wolflings actually have a much older origin than that. Wendigos were also interesting because we have kind of used the term generically since we started, even though it is an Algonquin legend, right, which is way back east, 3,000 miles away. The Salish Indians don't know anything about Wendigos, right? That's not their thing. So we were actually able to, and I think it's good and about time, we kind of reclassified. So the Algonquin myth stands on its own. The Wendigos that you would be used to in Deadlands now out in the Salish, Cascade, King County area are a new thing. And that's been kind of fun too, because we got to redefine them a bit and give them some new abilities and so on, which is very cool. And there's a really good reason for it. And spoiler alert for players of the old material, not the new one necessarily, but the reason the Sasquatches are involved in all this is because the howlers still come about when people are freezing and cold up in the Cascades, right? Much like the Wendigo. But a little different, and the Sasquatches realize this. So yeah, Team Squad. So sometimes, if the Sasquatch can't help the humans because they're friendly, they're good guys in Deadlands, they have to put them down. The Sasquatch have to put down these humans who are just too far gone, and they know are going to do horrible deeds to the rest of the humans up there. So you got humans, wolves, and howlers, all with competing purposes, all under the auspices of something greater that gets awakened in the Carnage and the Cascades boxed set. And you actually start in Seattle, so it's a city adventure, which is really cool and different for us, right? So it's a very urban, pioneer, boomtown kind of city. Something has come to the city, stirred things up. You've got to investigate, figure it out. You've got to make friends, hold off your enemies, and then once you figure out what's going on there, then you move out into the county and the Enumclaw area, and then up into Cascade, where things get pretty gnarly. So it was really exciting to walk the path where I wanted the party to go. I was very fortunate. I actually ran the campaign twice for local groups here, and some things didn't go so well the first couple of times, right? And that's why we play test, because thank goodness I had these really intelligent players who would sit there and say, well, what about this? What about that? And we streamlined it into what it is now. And I think it's really good. And it's a little bit of me, but a whole lot of those playtest groups sitting through my horrible mistakes for quite a while. So that was really cool.
I mean, I didn't get to play it either or whatever, but I did hear all the horror stories from how many people that you murder hoboed, TPK'd. I think how many characters did Simon go through?
Simon went through at least 4, which brings everyone great joy when we kill one of Simon's characters. We're pretty ruthless, and part of that is our nature. Part of it too is was this encounter too hard? And I won't spoil anything, but there is an encounter in the Seattle area that you think is okay, there's this thing, let's go deal with it. And you're like, okay, good, let's be prepared, let's do this. And then you're like, oh my God, it's way worse than you thought, right? and it's my favorite kind of scenario. Here's a thing, what do you want to do about it, right? Rather than a linear railroady kind of thing. And watching each group's reaction to how they wanted to deal with that is just pure joy as a GM, right? I can just sit there and listen to them plot for hours. And then what's great when you have intelligent villains, and they're more intelligent than you are, right? So you think, well, I can use the extent of my abilities because theirs is greater than mine. And this is how they're going to react to the player characters doing these things. And they are vicious and cruel. And there's a sidebar called Vicious and Cruel that reminds you that this is what they'll do. So it was really fun.
Nothing Pacific, as in peaceful. I like about the Pacific Northwest, I guess.
Right.
So this is a big campaign. So for folks who don't realize, this is a regional source book, and we'll get Brian Reeves on to talk about that on the stream one of these weeks. And also a comic book, because this will be the third part of the Rise of the Black Circle, and they'll be all collected into a graphic novel.
We auteurs prefer the term graphic novel. Thank you very much.
But I mean, the Carnage and the Cascades is an adventure box set. So what all goodies, we've done these before. So we've got a Horror Headstone Hill, and what kind of goes into this adventure box?
Yes.
Is it like a plot point? Is it several adventures?
That's a great question. So with the box sets like Horror at Headstone Hill, what Matt Cutter set out to do with that was to make a sandbox plot point campaign. Well, those words flow out of your mouth very easily, but the concepts behind them are very hard. to make something where the players can go anywhere they want, but there is still a coherent through line to the end, right? And Matt did a great job with the horror at Headstone Hill, and that's why I struggled at first to find a similar through line in Carnage and the Cascades. But again, thanks to the play tests and the players, we did, and I think it works very well because it has a little bit of a, here's what's going on. How would you like to deal with it? Okay, great. We've hit a stage. Let's move on to the next stage. Here's what's going on. How would you like to deal with it? And then the ending is a little more, you are, not only is it a railroad, it is a hurtling freight train to oblivion that you better figure out fast. And I think it works pretty well. So, physically what goes in the box set is there's the book. There are some really cool, we'll call them interactive maps because of the way that you deal with them. There are lots of very cool props. So, okay, you get a telegram from this person. Here's the telegram, right? And Simon loves making those kind of props and sourcing different kinds of paper and all that. He's giddy about it. There's new pawns for the specific characters and things that you will encounter. And then probably our favorite thing that we haven't shown yet because we're still prototyping it is something, and Chris, don't even give me the eye roll, but it is the phobometer, okay? It is the fear meter. This is a new item that the agency is testing, or perhaps you're testing for the agency and you'll use during this adventure. And it ain't always gonna work just right, but it's gonna be a physical prop for your game. And what's gonna be cool about it is you can show everybody in your group the actual fear level on the phobometer, which helps you remember what your fear penalties are and so forth for Deadlands, which is gonna be super useful, not just for this, but for all the amazing stuff that Brian worked into the Abominable Northwest, which, oh my gosh, that book is just packed full of stuff. How many pages is it? It is. I've got the PDF open here. Gorgeous art by our usual state. It's 212 pages.
Yeah, 212 and 120, I think, are the two for this campaign.
Yeah, I'm looking through it. The art's amazing. Brian is this incredibly quiet and creative guy that I love seeing what he comes up with. And then I go through and we kind of, cajole it into the vision, but it's zany and it's awesome.
And I really like the concept of the phobometer because doing the regional source books, like there's a lot of adventure material, but unlike kind of the big campaigns from the last version, the game master's choice on where the fear level is, there's not necessarily kind of this area is on the verge all the time, whatever, and that's not the case here because there's not only are there plenty of adventure material in the box set, there's a whole plot point campaign in the book itself too. Right. I think Brian said it's like all around kind of Puget Sound.
Yeah, it's kind of
you can really play with the fear levels and risking sending a whole region into becoming a Deadland and living up to the name of the it's in the name, folks. So I think that's being able to. I mean, literally, I don't know. I haven't seen the prototypes. I don't know if it goes up to 11. Maybe 11 is where it needs to go. But you can turn up to max fear level and just see what's going on. So that's actually pretty exciting. I think that's
it is, and what I think what people what they may not catch until they play is that the Reckoners are all about terraforming the earth, right? Deadlands is all about fear. So the game is unmanageable for a posse that does not manage their fear, right? You've got to take some of the edges that will help you deal with that. You've got to take some of the items, abilities, etc., that will help you deal with the penalties from fear levels as you go. If you don't, you're just going to have to embrace, running away your first round of combat, getting new phobias and being at penalties, or my all-time favorite, having a heart attack right there on the scene.
Having a character just die is yes, but hey, that's what happens, folks.
It happens more often than you might think, and Deadlands is about managing fear, and it's a feature of the game. And now you'll be able to see it a little more visually, which I think is critical, actually.
That is awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, so someone mentioned we were still in the 50s last time I looked, and we're already at almost 70. So thank you for the 654 people who have skyrocketed this to a great first day. But I would be remiss if we didn't kind of run through what the pledge levels were, so you guys could decide what's awesome. So again, this is a big three-parter. Abominable Northwest is the Pacific Northwest regional source book. what would you say, 212 pages. So packed full of content, multiple one-sheet adventures plus a plot point campaign, and then the Rise of the Black Circle graphic novel. So if you guys have been following our campaigns for those, we've done the first two, and this will be the third one, and then so a collection of all three in hardcover, and then the Carnage and the Cascades adventure box set. I really like the adventure box sets. I'm with you and Simon on all the little bit of what's the term, skeuomorphic, the skeuomorphic design, like when you actually have like the newspaper is printed on real newspaper, and the phobometer will actually be a cool little device. And we'll be excited to show that off, because I think if anything, people who play Savage Worlds love theming Savage Worlds, like they'll match their bennies to the theme of the game. They'll match the card decks they're using to the theme of the game, and so I think that just takes it to another level.
Yeah, and that's an important point. That's one of the reasons we use crowdfunding for this stuff. Right? We can pay for the printing of our books and stuff, but when we get the extra assurance, the extra marketing power, frankly, and money to be able to do the extras, that's where crowdfunding is just so critical for us. I see occasionally people will say, I don't know why a company like Pinnacle does crowdfunding. Well, we're 4 full-time employees, and the rest are part-time or contract. It's still a tiny company. I am so glad that people think we're so much bigger, because I think our production values are insane, right? Simon and the rest, Aaron, our art director, they do just an incredible job of making us look so much bigger. But sometimes I take it on the chin, because people say, you're this big company with your corporate lawyers and your, it's like, what? I've literally been told, we can't meet your corporate lawyers. Like, what are you talking about? And we'll work something out with some guy because he's mad at me about his product not coming on time or something. Let me talk about the graphic novel real quick.
Yeah.
And then let's see if there's any questions we want to answer. And then maybe Brian will show up, hopefully talk about Abominable Northwest some more. So the graphic novel is a return of the original 3, Ronan Lynch, Bad Luck Betty McGrew, and Velvet Van Helter, the original dime novel heroes. And I'm super excited about that. They were our original pitch to Hollywood, because we're a world, right? And it's hard to say, hey, Hollywood, make a movie in our world, because they want characters. That's why comic books are so much easier to make into movies, because it's literally a storyboard of what you want to make. So that's why we created them in the first place. In our dime novels, we didn't have the ability to do comics back then. We do now, thanks to originally Outland was our partner with it. We've brought it back in-house. No fault of Outland's, it just didn't make sense. And Chuck Selner, a visionary, helps us put it together. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous, right? And for me, as the guy who created these 3 characters and wanted to see them live on, this is just the perfect medium. I'm a comic book guy. I have been since I was 4 years old. Let's do that interior front cover again very second.
Look at that. Oh my God. It's look at that.
And that villain on the cover, La Bruja, we have the stats for her in there. So if you want, if you actually play the game and you want all this stuff, it's in there too. But this sets up a story that is being strung throughout. Not only the original Cackler graphic novel, it's set up in some of the source book stuff. There are ties to it in Carnage and the Cascades, and most importantly, Deadlands Dark Ages, which I'm starting to do edits on now that John Goff handed it off to Simon. Simon made some changes. I'm doing the final edits. We are awaiting the art and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a future show. But all of these things tie together behind the scenes for those fans who are really into the whole story of Deadlands. For those who aren't, doesn't matter. You're going to get a rip roaring tale of the Weird West. And the little, Easter eggs and so forth won't matter as much to you. But if you've been following us since '96, you're going to get it.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's super exciting. And we got some teaser pages here from the beginning. And then maybe I'll skip down to page, let's see. Actually, chat, give me a page number up to 100, and we'll see what's on that page. So you guys are... I love the art. I think it's fantastic. But this one's from the first issue. And I think if you've been here with us before on a previous Kickstarter, or you currently could have this in your collection. But there we go. Christian Serrano wants to go all the way, turn it to 11. Let's see. It might be the back cover. There we go, Christian.
Nice call, Christian.
Right, good one. Okay, 47. Let's see. Ooh, 47. Ooh, nice, nice. Okay, 42 is pretty popular. So let's go back a couple to 42. The 42. Mwah!
There we go.
There we go. The yeah, Sean and John and yeah, the Savage Goose. Good pick on 42.
So here's a yeah. So here's another call out to that history degree I talk about. So that is actually a pretty accurate representation of the Nacogdoches town square circa 1880 or so. So we're fortunate that we work in an alternate history like this in the late 1800s when there are actual pictures of things, right? And sometimes historic town squares still exist and so forth, so we can jump into Google Earth and walk around. But if not, we have pictures. We send those to the artists. We stylize it, right, and do what we need to with it. But if you live there or have been there, these scenes will be familiar to you, and I like that.
Oh, okay. So there's more than just comics.
So there's a story in here too. There's some fiction, and then the profiles of some of the characters.
Oh, nice.
Let's take some questions. Let's see what people want to know about.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I did not read all the chat while they were flying by because it distracts me. So
So 3 important ones. So everyone loves everything, but let's see. The Sean Merrow asks, does the campaign have any parts in Eastern Washington, the Great Desert of Eastern Washington?
So the source book covers it. My Carnage of the Cascades ends in the northern Cascade Mountains. That's as far as it goes.
Nice. And then Deadlands question, Frank the Tank asks, hey, I know the maze will be the next location book, but could we please get an updated Smith and Robards catalog? So how about that when we get into some more not setting specific content?
Yeah, so we have so about the source books, right? We've got a few more of those, but scattered in between them are some other event books, and that exact thing that you're asking about there, that may be in a slightly different form. We'll have to get to that later. But when we did the latest version of Deadlands, the prior version Reloaded, we did the big 4 servitor plot point books, right? Raven, Grimm, Hellstrom, and Stone, and that was a lot of work. We're very proud of it. I think they're awesome, and the guys, I think, knocked it out of the park. They're epic campaigns. But we wanted to get away from saving the world and kind of return to the small town horror, and we did that with Horror at Headstone Hill. We're doing that here in Carnage in the Cascades, and in the Savage Tales and the many plot point campaigns that are threaded throughout the regional source books. But and as well as Blood Drive, Night Train 25th anniversary, those kind of things. In the future, we have some things that are kind of big events that will happen throughout the Weird West, but still aren't necessarily you're going to save the whole world, right? It's stop this rising threat before it gets too bad. But it does go from place to place. It lets you move around and take advantage of all these places you've read about and areas to explore. So we've got some different kinds of books coming down the pipe. So I think you will be very happy to see Smith and Robards as well as other stuff on the horizon. Nice. We got to be careful about returning to the splat book era, right? People don't like that. What we did, when we did Deadlands Classic, L5R, Shadowrun, all of us were, here's the book for hucksters, here's the book for mad scientists. And while those were pretty cool and they certainly sold really well, it got the game pretty complex, right? So we're careful about that these days. We know people are a little more limited in how much they want to memorize and how things work. We try to keep it streamlined.
So you made the mistake of mentioning Deadlands Dark Ages. So how about Nice Smith and Dibble asks, when do you think we're getting to Dark Ages, and then maybe Hell on Earth?
So Deadlands Dark Ages is absolutely 2025. We will not miss that. Hell on Earth will be a little later. There are things in the works that must be completed first. And I mentioned we're a small company. That is not really what holds us back, because we're kind of crazy, and we produce the words pretty quickly. The art takes a little longer because we need a lot of art, and we have a relatively small stable for that. What really holds us back is we don't have a lot of luck selling straight to retail. like we used to in the old days, right? So we Kickstarter, backer kit, that kind of thing is way better for us. And we get to interact with you, the customer, and we get a much better handle on how many we need to order, right? So we don't order 5,000 and hope they sell. You know, we order exactly what we think we're going to need. So it's kind of a boring business answer, but the number of times we can put something on Kickstarter or backer kit through the year is currently what limits us. That is actually, you know, the toughest thing for us.
Nice, good answer. The let's see. Here's one from, this is Val. Is Ronan named after Ronan, or is Ronan named after Ronan?
Kind of an odd coincidence. So Matt Forbeck named Ronan Lynch, and we named my first son Caden, which is a Gaelic name, and Michelle, my wife, she found that name, and she found the name Ronan independently as well. So when she suggested Ronan, because it went so well with Caden, and we had Ronan Lynch in the game, I said, because we were originally going to name my youngest son Addison, and she found Ronan. I heard the name Ronan, and I said, it's got to be Ronan. Now, my son Ronan actually was kind of mad about that for a while, because Caden means spirit of battle, okay? And Ronan means little seal. And people think when they hear it, Ronin, you know, like the rogue samurai, and he thought that was pretty cool. He didn't want to tell people it was little seal. But they're both Gaelic. They're both cool. He loves his name now. We love his name. And thanks to Matt for giving us that original Ronan Lynch name, which I think is just killer.
Nice. I love it. Love the story. Christian says, Shane talking about his attention to detail reminds me of Scott Woodard talking about the details he put into the Six Gun, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, this one is clearly deeply researched. I mean, not only did you visit, but also Brian lives in the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah. And then, you know, Salish contact for, you know, adding richness and accuracy. So, I mean, there's just like, yeah, this is legit. This isn't fly by night. You guys, you put in the work on this one. So, and
I felt pretty confident in my Salish research, but we had David Domelane, he's a member of the Metis. He's born and raised on the Wakwa. I hope I got that right. Nation, culture, and land. He's an engineer who lives in the area, but he lives right there on tribal land, and he went through, you know, everything I wrote and gave me some feedback on some things. And we don't really like the term sensitivity reader. I think that sounds as if you are pandering a bit, I guess. But cultural consultant, right? History guy, you want to go to your primary sources. You want to know from the people who lived it, what they get right, what they get wrong from your point of view. And you know, fortunately, it all worked out really, really well. We do put a lot of effort into the research. It's important to us. It has been since '96, not just in the modern age.
I mean, I don't know. So Peter asked if we counted the adventures yet. I mean, there's a bunch in the adventure box set, and then there's a whole plot point campaign plus independent adventures in the book. So it's quite a bit. I think maybe between now and the next stream, I'll go and count. But I
don't know how to answer that question though, because they're Savage Tales, right? Which a Savage Tale might be a paragraph, it might be 8 pages, and you will get an adventure out of that. So I'm not really sure how to answer that. The box set is a complete plot point campaign in 3 acts with tons of Savage Tales. You will not play all of them. Your party is going to choose, you know, what to interact with. Abominable Northwest is loaded with Savage Tales tied to those regions. So it's up to the GM how many he puts in them. There are no adventures like a 32-page linear adventure. There's none of that.
Here's an interesting one, and I'll tell you, when we went around on the like staff questionnaire on like which one of our settings are you guys excited to work on, everybody raised their hand for Rippers. So Rippers is well loved. We don't have a release this year for it, and I don't think we have room next year. But Rippers is high on the list of things we're excited to return to.
It is, and while we're not doing the Rippers box set just yet, there will be some Ripper stuff coming. We have some very cool surprises we'll talk about later this year. We're just figuring out exactly how to make them happen. Will Deadlands and Rippers ever merge? So I want them to be quite honest. Simon, who is the Rippers line manager, he is vehemently against it. And there are good reasons on both sides, but we haven't settled it yet. But we don't want.
He's just waiting for you to kick off so he can sell it to Hollywood himself. That's why he doesn't.
Well, I did just have a birthday. I guess every year is a little closer. The Ripper's timeline is a little further ahead. Then we're going to stay at 1884 for pretty much forever for Deadlands. I don't want to get into the 1890s, the end of the cowboy era, because we're a spaghetti western. That's where I want to live. Rippers, you don't get to the Ripper until like 88. So that's a little problematic. Yes, we could just make up our own thing, but it's that history thing. Make the iron-bound edge better.
I think it was commenting in response to one of the things that we were talking about before.
Okay.
Let's see. Here's another question. Will we see augurs, a.k.a. scrappers, a.k.a. kick-butt steampunk cyborgs?
Not in these two books, or this launch. That would be a Smith and Robards kind of thing. You will fight some in Carnage and the Cascade, though. Be careful.
Yeah, I've seen some art. I know. Yes, there is. There is. Yeah. That thing looks nasty. The
AI is taking over logging just in the past, just like it is in the future.
Right. That's a whole can of worms. Just wanted to
We
open
call
up.
it ZI, right? It's zombie intelligence, not
Right.
artificial.
There you go. The right. Oh yeah, Sci-Fi Companion is going to be arriving soon. So happy to see you guys get
no
that.
new core editions. We have no plans for any new editions of Savage Worlds on the horizon. Not a hint of it.
Right.
We're very happy with it.
If this is the definitive edition, I think we'd all be pretty happy. It's pretty.
I
good.
wanted to call it the Omega edition, but Jody wouldn't let me.
Oh, that's true. Yep, yeah, John. We are also looking forward to those two as well. And but yeah, I mean, it's been a hot minute, right? Because the last Deadlands campaign we did was the Excellent Night Train. Yeah, that was a commemorative anniversary edition, and really awesome is that's going to be shipping here so soon. We are, in fact, like a week from today, we are closing the pledge manager to pay for shipping for Night Train, and it's heading out because it is already in the warehouse. So I've been here 4.5 years, and we have never got to say something ever arrived early in that time, and it arrived early, and so we're like, we can't wait. Let's get out. So it has been one. Thank you for your patience, folks, because it has been back to back campaigns pretty much since April that have been arriving and shipping out. And we're so happy that you are getting Sway 20th in your hands this week. We saw some folks posting that they got theirs. And so Sway 20th, Night Train is next. So really excited you guys actually get to get these in your hands, because we're, I say we because I have nothing to do with this, but like really good about getting you PDFs like as soon as the campaigns are done, a month after, when we get the list of final names, like we give you PDFs, right? And those are pretty good. You can start playing. But it has been a challenge with all of the luckily the strike on the East Coast and the ports will not affect delivery for Sway 20th or Night Train. We've got those sorted, so yay. But it's been global pandemics, ships getting stuck in canals, train robberies out of, we used to send most of our stuff through LA, and then they started robbing the trains. So then the companies were like, we're going to go to Baltimore instead. Well, when you expect it in LA, and then it's got to go all the way around the Suez or the Panama and then up the.
You wouldn't believe the stuff we deal with behind the scenes. I mean, you think we argue over how an edge works. Getting your books to you is the hardest part. Yeah. Hey, and it's good to hear from you, Hostetter. Good to see you again. It's been a hot minute.
Cyborgs are awesome. Let's see. Here we go. For the Kickstarter, what are the other First Rodeo goodies in the First Rodeo pledge? It says. Okay, so check the FAQ. If we don't have it in the FAQ, we will get it there soon. We put other goodies just because it was easier than listing the dozens and dozens of things, but it is a huge suite of goodies. So if it is not on the FAQ, let me go check and see if it is there on the FAQ, but it should be under the FAQ. Let's see. Here we go.
The First Rodeo pledge.
Yeah. So the very, very bottom one, what is all in the First Rodeo. So I might as well read it. So it is everything in the all-in tier, plus the Weird West box set, which includes the core book, Archetype Set 1, dice, bennies, and more. And then the Weird West Archetype Sets 2, 3, and 4, Weird West pawn boxes, set 1 and 2. I love our pawns; they're pretty amazing. The map pack bundle, which is map packs 1 through 6, and then Hell in the High Plains, which is the first trail guide series, which is kind of Colorado, Nebraska, kind of that area, and then Horrid Headstone Hill box set, which is very similar to what we're doing with the Carnage and the Cascades, and a copy of Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. So it is everything you need to play, all the current stuff for Deadlands. A pretty good thing. So that's where to find it in the FAQ. So thank you for picking that up. I mean, and several of you already have, which it is amazing to us when we find people who are brand new and they're like, yes, I will take all of it, please. So thank you. You paid for lunch. Appreciate it.
I'll give you all a goodie right now. Check out this shirt.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
It's a cowboy, an undead cowboy riding a shark. Is there anything more Savage Worlds than that?
And you know it is an epic shirt, but you know they sold 3 of them, and you bought 2.
I might have more than one.
I mean, a shirt that good, you can't just buy one because something might happen,
Yeah,
and then it'll be
that's right.
No, Savage Goose. We would definitely appreciate the love for Rippers, and wow, lots of Rippers in the comment. Everybody, yes, totally Rippers is Penny Dreadful. I liked the new series that they came out with. It kind of ended too soon. It was very evocative, really good acting. Really wanted me to I got some I need to write for Rippers vibes after watching that. And any Twin Peaks references for Pacific Northwest. 2 very interesting peaks.
Not in my stuff.
Okay.
I don't remember any specifically in the Abominable Northwest. I would be lying if I said otherwise, so I'm going to have to say no.
Okay. Nice.
But Brian Reese will correct me if I'm wrong.
Did Val get to play in any of your Carnage and the Cascade
He
playtests?
did. Val had one of the fun. So Chris Valentine, Cryptwrite, for those of you who don't know, handles a lot of our new website that we're working on. And he played an amazing and hilarious mad scientist in the campaign. And I don't know if I can tell his best story because it just gives too much away. But suffice to say, he wound up taking as his trappings. It was kind of a bio feel with octopus as its main theme.
I mean, in the teaser image I posted to Facebook and Twitter and whatever for this stream, it's in Seattle and there's a cephalopod in the thing. So I'm just saying. Take the Frank. So by not doing a new edition of Suede, we do not mean that there are not potentially more companion level releases. So that we have not said that. There might even be a martial arts book. There might be some other there's some other cool things in the works, or at least ideas of them. So we're pretty satisfied with the 4 that are out now. So, but yeah, we're not closing the door on companions. So,
well, there are other companions that are on. I'll say in the works, but that doesn't mean like coming in the next few months, right? There are ones that we have written down some of our ideas for, and we have to prioritize. We've got a few things to get through for the rest of the year, and then a couple of big things early next year, and then we'll figure out which ones of those go into the slots. One of the very cool things that we've been working on that we're not ready to talk about just yet, but just to alleviate some stress, is that we have a way of getting some of our lines that need support or lines you haven't seen yet, additional material, without having to kind of start up a whole line and put other lines off and that kind of thing. But it's we'll tell you more about that in a couple of months.
Nice. Yep, it's shipping right now. It's if you should expect an email from, if you're domestic, the emails with your tracking number should be going out. Some people have them already, but again, it's a several thousand person campaign, so have some patience. But all the pallets have already been shipped to our Canadian partners, our UK European partners, and our Australian and New Zealand partners. So those are out there and in their hands, and they will be contacting you soon if they haven't already. So very excited that Suede 20th is already shipping out. And let's see. Gatling guns on trains. So you did mention there was a big train involved in or was it a railroaded plot point?
Yeah, we have lots of Gatling guns on trains throughout Deadlands. I mean, all the Rail Wars trains have steam cannons and vapor cannons and all kinds of crazy stuff on them. See great Rail Wars.
Chris Hussey wants some Deadlands Noir love. Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't punish Shane and company for putting out so many great other settings. Like there's a lot for us to keep going back and updating and releasing new. So it might be a hot minute because there's been a lot. And I mean, here's another scary thing is recently we sat down and did the like, hey, what's the next year? What's the next 2 years? What's the next? And I think you mentioned that like at the list of stuff that you had, it was either going back and revisiting or haven't been produced yet at all, and you want to finish. Did we decide that you're not going to retire till you're 94? Is that kind of what we thought? There's a pretty good.
Like Hugh Jackman,
right? Get some of that healing factor and stay alive. Yes. John says, good seeing you too, Shane. Let's see. Any other questions? Awesome. Yes. Oh, here's the question. Where is the dorsal fin on that t-shirt, Shane?
It's when you're undead, it adds stabilization in places. Okay. We don't want to talk about the family-friendly stream.
Right. Let's see. Appreciate for the lore. Love the shirt. Let's see. Tracy's is coming again. The Death Group. Let's see. Anything about the volcanoes?
Yes.
Yes. Nice. Okay. The corporate's calling it Operation Meat Shield, and yes, all of our add-ons, anything you buy during the campaign, if it has a digital version, you get it from us. So that's an easy yes. And the Rise of the Geckos. So Pine Box Middle School, guys, pick out the box set. It is gorgeous. It looks so great. I love that box set. The time travel companion. Interesting idea. Any final ones here? Rifts Europa. Well, I mean, good news, Salcor, because Rifts Europa will be our next Rifts release, and we might just be able to get it to you before the end of the year, maybe. So yeah, keep your eye out for that one because that one might be our next announcement. And the companion, there is a romance companion idea, not for companions, but for like epic level romance. Like it's a thing. Let's see. 50 fathoms. Yeah.
We have a big idea for that, but it will not be in 2025.
Okay, awesome.
Fathoms and even Evernight.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, John, I do.
Okay.
I can't talk about it without giving it away, but it's that thing I mentioned earlier where the players go and they think it's one thing that it is, but it is also something else, and it's there's like kind of a what multiple levels of revelation that I got to watch twice blow the players' minds, and then as they had to deal with it, realizing just how difficult it was going to be. And it was just so fun to watch. These super clever people have to deal with this crazy, deadly situation, and sure enough, it did.
Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing and just how happy he is about this scene? I mean, like genuinely giddy that like he's killing TPK players.
I hadn't been quite that giddy about a scene since I had the giant worms use undead as anti-aircraft projectiles in the Hell on Earth Unity adventure.
Oh my god. Oh geez. Okay. You heard it right. Evernight, maybe it's there. Sean agrees. Sounds awesome. Comedy companion. I don't know if we can help you be funny. That's a tough one.
That might be a stretch.
Right. All the tests during play testing. Let's see. Any other? Crater Lake. Anything on Crater Lake?
No, I think that was a one and done. We already did Crater Lake as a play by yourself.
Yeah, the Chronicles. Yeah,
you missed it.
Awesome. Yeah, and that one's really good. Garrett Leahy was excellent.
Garrett's crazy. Yeah. he's just insane in a wonderful way, and Crater Lake exemplifies that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, folks, I promised that we would not go the full hour tonight, so we're going to wrap it up right about here. So one more time, it's on Kickstarter. It is fully funded. If you haven't gone and seen it yet, I will give you the easy, shortest link in the chat. We did put it in there earlier, but this is the there's the shortest link right there. Follow it. It's on the Kickstarter right now. It's got a couple more weeks on it, so we're not doing stretch goals. We put in everything we wanted in the box, so it's already all there. So there's like, why risk it? Why chance it? I think you guys have
cracked 70K.
Well, hey,
we're on the screen. Yep. Thank you very much.
We appreciate that. And one of our partners has a current Kickstarter going right now, Audio RPG. They have got the Weird West Companion in audiobook format, which is an interesting kind of experiment that they're running, putting our stuff in audiobook format. So I will pop that link in the chat right now if you want to check out the Weird West Companion in audiobook format. Very reasonably priced. And they've got some pretty good voice actors who do that. So if you like listening to books, and really, I mean, I would really like to hear some of like the Carnage box set done that way, because they're very evocative. They're good reads, even if you're not going to get them to the table anytime soon. But and then we've got another Ace partner who's got a Kickstarter up right now, Saints and Sinners, but we're going to have them on Thursday. So cool. Join us again for that live stream. We'll have Brandon Verhalen on from for that Kickstarter. They are doing really well. I think they might be funded or not, but we'll get you all the links for that on Thursday, because it'll be a whole big extravaganza for that. And then I think we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize that we lost a really dear wild card this week with Jeff Gordon. So condolences to his family and friends. He was a shining light in our community. You guys might know him from Savage US or his presence down at the Texas conventions. But he was a very stellar human being. And so
he really was.
Yeah.
Just inspirational. And, his long fight with cancer is the way that I hope and pray that I would handle it if I were struck with something like that. And I seriously doubt I could. He was an amazing guy. He is missed.
Yeah. So really, really awesome human being. And Savage US will live on. So for those of you who are worried about that, but yeah, for now we're worried about the family, and we'll probably have some more to say about that as we go forward. But yeah, that was a tough one. And so yeah, guys, we'll appreciate you. We will see you on Thursday. But again, thanks for making our Kickstarters great. They really are a really fun way to interact with you folks and build better products and get more stuff onto your tables faster. And so we'll see you on Thursday. So thanks for joining us, Shane. And we'll get Brian and Daryl on to talk about the other kind of parts of this big 3-part campaign. But other than that, so get out there and play some Savage Worlds this week, folks. And we will see you on Thursday. Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Let's run the commercial again because it's a really good commercial.
We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.
Welcome to the Weird West. Will you survive the frightening frontier? Or fill a grave on Boot Hill? Grab your 6 guns and enter